Hi, everybody. It's Shana Rattler, your corporate attraction coach, and I've been thinking about you. Actually, I've been thinking a lot about you because over the last, I'm going to say, 6 to 9 months, I have been spending a ton of time with my corporate clients. And for those of you who don't know, my corporate clients are in the supplier diversity or the procurement or purchasing department. So basically what that means is I'm working with those corporations in the departments that are buying from you, other small business owners, those who are hiring experts, those who are buying products and services that they need to be able to run their organization smoothly, to be able to produce their end product or service, things of that nature. And what I'm doing is I'm helping them identify how to better work with you. So you know that I spend a lot of time teaching you as small business owners, what are those corporations looking for? How do you get your foot in the door? How do you beat out the incumbent suppliers who are already in place? How do you keep that contract once you get it, right? That's important. But on the flip side of that is I'm really working with those corporations to show them that there are some significant opportunities and areas for improvement in their corporations as well, and that it's not just about finding the suppliers that are ready, but it's also about having programs in place that can help to create ready suppliers and develop ready suppliers. And here's the biggest things that I've noticed is that both sides we complain, right? So as small business owners, we say we don't know who to contact, and even when we do know who to contact, we just can't get our foot in the door. The corporations are saying, I can't find women and minorities and other small business owners that buy what we sell, and then when I find them, they're not ready. So that's my job, is to help both sides get ready, frankly, so we can just play in the sandbox together. And in doing so, I am gaining some tremendous insight from their point of view where we as small business owners are just missing the mark. And so I wanted to shoot this short video and give you the top 3 things from their perspective of where you may be missing the mark. And then give you some support and guidance of what you can do for that. So insight number 1 is that they're saying that we don't know what they need. We don't know what they need. So, this goes beyond, the typical do your homework and find out what they're buying and, and when they buy and why they buy, things of that nature. But it's really looking at what do they need, right? So you can find a lot of information just from talking to them. You can find a lot of information on their website and the news about what's going on in their organizations to know the areas that they might need help. But guess what? They already know the areas that they need help. But what they're really wanting you to do is to know what it is that they need. So I really want you to think about when you think about your products and services, and you want to do this on a case by case basis. I'm not saying, create the business case in general of how your product or service can help them. But when you're getting ready to talk to a decision maker at a corporation, really take the time to figure out exactly what it is that they need. Okay? Insight number 2, they say that we don't know how to conduct the meeting. So they let us into their calendars. We all know they're insanely busy, right? And then they say that we just don't know how to conduct the meeting. Like we sit down and it's like we're like, hey, we're here and I just wanted to share some information about what we do and find out what you all need. And it just doesn't go anywhere. Like how many times have you had those meetings where it's an exploratory meeting and you're sharing what you can do and sharing how you can help, and then 3, 4 months down the line, even after following up, that meeting doesn't go anywhere. And it's because when you're in those meetings that you really have to learn how to uncover what's urgent versus important with them. You really have to steer the conversation and help them to figure out what their problem is costing them, what the opportunity cost is, what it's going to cost them if they just don't do anything different at all. So there's a process, right? And I'm not talking about a sales conversation. I'm really talking about how do you take control and conduct the meeting from start to finish that is going to have them walking away realizing that you are their guy, realizing that you are their gal, and they can't help but to take you up on your offer, right? Third insight is that we don't show up as the expert. Now, part of this ties back into insight number one, that we don't know what they need, but they're wanting us to show up as the expert and not just give them information, but give them insights. Tell them, based on what I know, here's what I know. Clients that I have worked with before, this is what they were experiencing, and together we did this, and that was the result. So they're wanting you to show up as the expert. Now, what this does not mean is, it doesn't mean that once you get into the meeting that you have to give away the farm, but you do have to be able to demonstrate your expertise for them to get excited about working with you and to actually complete the transaction and do what I call CTC, cut the check, for working with you. So again, the top three things that they say that we're doing that we're missing the mark is that we don't know what they need, we don't know how to conduct the meeting, and we don't show up as the expert. So what can we do to fix those things? So I've given you some tips along the way, but here's your homework. I really want you to take the time, sit down, block 45 to 60 minutes off of your calendar, get your favorite beverage, and really do these assignments. So assignment number one is, I want you to think about, who is your buyer, right? So when I say who is your buyer, I don't mean just the HR person. Like, I really want you to look down and go, okay, if they're in HR, they're typically a female, and they're between the ages of 33 and 35. How do they think? Does your buyer typically the type of buyer that they need more information? Are they, what do they care about? Do they care about attracting and retaining top talent? Like, so who is your buyer? So not just their position, but really thinking about who they are, how they operate, how do they think. Again, are they the type of person that they want more information? Are they type of the person that you can just give them the data and keep it moving? Like, that's kind of how I buy. And when do they buy, right? So what has to be occurring? What urgency has to be occurring within their organization that's going to get them to buy? Like, what are those trigger events, right? So think about that. And then the second assignment is, I really want you to be thinking about, what are the questions that you can be asking them that really helps them to unpack the pain. Because listen, whether you're spending your own money or whether you're spending your organization's money, we're still emotional buyers. And so you have to increase that emotional desire to change. So I want you to think about, what are the questions that you can ask them. So for example, I'm going to stick to the HR scenario. If you know that you are selling to someone who is in HR, and they're really looking to retain top talent. They're trying to figure out, how can they keep women in their organizations, whatever that thing is. You're going to want to ask them, like, once they tell you what the problems are that they're challenging, you're going to have to say, well, what's happening as a result of these problems? How are these behaviors impacting the departments that you're responsible for? What is your annual attrition rate? What is the amount of money that it's costing you to onboard, recruit, train, find top talent, right? And so then when they tell you that, okay, well, on average, we are having to replace 10 people a year as a result of these behaviors or whatever the challenge is that they're experiencing. And on average, it's costing me, I'm just going to use a ballpark number, $20,000. Okay, so basically what you're telling me is that the challenges that you're having within your organization, you're having to replace about 10 people a year, and it's costing you $200,000, right? Or, 10 times $20,000. So then you're going to want to ask them questions like, well, what is your goal to reduce that rate? They don't know. They've probably done a few things. They've probably hired some trainers, things of that nature. But I hope you get the point. I really want you to create, what are those questions that you can ask that is really going to unpack the pain and show them the implication of what their challenges are causing them, and show them what they can save, right? And it doesn't always have to be dollars and cents, but I think you get the point. So again, assignment number one, think about, who is your buyer? How do they buy? Not at what point in the cycle, or that you have to go through the RFP process, but really, how do they buy? And then what are those questions that you can ask that's going to help them to unpack the pain. So I've really just, again, I've been thinking a lot about you. These are simple things that we can fix, right? And so don't let things like this keep you from being able to, get that money that's waiting for you inside a corporation. So I hope this information was helpful to you. There's going to be 2 more videos that are going to be coming over the next couple of weeks because I don't want to bombard you with a bunch of information, but do yourself a favor and do the homework, okay? Talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.